back, everyone. Today we're going to check out the armor that we created in the previous two tutorials, and we're going to test it out in game. Now again, as I previously stated, there's going to be a few problem areas that are going to be pointed out during this tutorial. We created the armor, we exported it, we fit the UNP body inside of the armor, and we did it without addressing the problem areas. The reason I did that is I want you to see that these are problem areas. I want you to see what happens when you don't address them prior to exporting for your first tryout routine when you normally create armors. If you don't know what to avoid because you've never ran into it, you'll run into that error in the future and then you won't know how to fix it. So that's why in my tutorials I actually address them. So at this point you want to go ahead and you want to enter your Skyrim game, and remember during the previous tutorial at the end I said you needed to create that save game with your character's body weight set to 0. So make sure that when you load up the game you go directly to that saved game that I mentioned creating before. I've already created it, so I'm just going to go ahead and enter in, and we'll go ahead and start taking a look at these problem areas. Now here's my character. Like I stated, I'm just outside of the beginning cave. Oh boy just ran off and ditched me, so I don't got to worry about dealing with him saying, hey, you should come with me to Riverwood and meet Girder or whoever. Alright, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to hit my tilde key on the keyboard to bring up the console, and I'm going to type player dot place at me space C2CD 6 space 1. And C2CD 6 place 1 is going to give me a little crate with every armor in the game in it. So it's all the armors that are available, standard armors in the game are right there in that little case. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. I'm going to scroll down to the hide armor, which will take forever. So there we go. Hide armor, that's the armor that we just modified. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to exit this, and I'm going to open up my inventory, and I'm going to equip the hide armor. Okay, take those boots off. Alright, and here's the hide armor. As you see, this is the armor we developed. Let me increase my game brightness so we can get a better look here. Hopefully that'll work. It didn't seem to make it any brighter. Must have a realistic lighting mod or something turned on. Anyways, the problem areas that I spoke of before. If I raise my arms up, let me get a weapon. Let's go to the weapons here, and we're going to equip this in the right hand side. Now take a look here real close, see if we get good lighting here. Watch what happens. You see that the strap for the arm piece is stuck to the arm. That's because when we skinned it, it was too close to the arm, and it wound up getting stuck to a bone node connected to the arm. The skin wrap isn't always perfect. That's why there's problem areas, like right underneath the arm. You can see that it's moving with the arm instead of sticking to the torso. You look real close, right underneath the right armpit, and you can see what I'm talking about. Test it in your game, you should see the same exact problem. Other than that, like if I go and another good test is to check it on the left hand side. We can see if there's an odd movement here. The armor seems to stick with that pretty well. It's not stretching oddly. There's no really good way to test these other than to pull out a weapon and actually play with the armor, or run around and see if something's moving oddly. See, there's another problem area. Remember I said by the knees is sometimes a problem area. If you kind of look behind the knee, it's not a huge problem. Pretty easily fixable. All these are fixable by avoiding those areas or changing vertex weights. The best way to do it is just to avoid the areas. And in later tutorials we can discuss item weighting. But for now we're just going to try to avoid these areas by moving the vertices away from them. But you can see it moves oddly, like the leather kind of flaps weirdly near the knees. If you look, especially near that left knee. It's kind of folding over itself. Now remember, whenever the vanilla body was on here, it didn't actually cover the full inside of the body, so around the waist there's going to be some weird mesh movement. Like if I crouch down, you see how there's those jagged vertices that are just shooting out weirdly, almost entirely unnoticeable, for playing. But we're trying to make something that actually looks great and is really polished. So we're going to fix that by getting rid of some vertices there. And you can also see by the knees crouching how the cloth is shooting up at the knee. It's shooting up at the leg, and that's kind of weird too. Again, it's fixable. It's best avoided, but there's various things you can do to fix that. So, like I said, these are some problem areas. Anywhere where the joints are going to move real tightly, it's best to avoid by moving the armors away from them, and then reskinning, and then you can move them back closer after you've reskinned, or you can just leave them away from it. That's kind of a way of cheating the item weights, is moving them away, skinning, then replacing them back where you had them. That's kind of cheating. And we're going to actually go over item weights in a later tutorial. Item weighting is advanced, where you actually have to determine a number, a value that weights the armor to the skeleton by changing each vertex individually and using grow modifiers. It's pretty advanced. We'll get into that pretty far off in the future, but we will get into it eventually throughout the series of these tutorials as we see what the problems are. So we're going to go ahead and cap this video off at that, and in the next video we're going to begin addressing each individual problem area and fixing this armor up to look a little tighter on the body and polishing it up. Once it's polished up, we may go and create a weight slider for it so you can understand the basic mechanics of weight sliders. And this is just the starting tutorial with working with one single armor. In the next armor tutorial, you're actually going to create a completely custom garment for your character. Something like, I don't know, an undergarment or a shirt. I haven't made up my mind on which we're going to do. But that's going to get you started on actually creating something brand new from scratch, never before seen in Skyrim. Once we've learned how to work with the basics of a hide armor and get the weight slider working. But alright, I'll see you all in the next video.